Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome to the bonus show. David, thank you for joining me. The World Health Organization has another important message for us, and that is about hearing loss and safe levels for listening to music. Now, I have some anecdotes about this stuff, but let's get into what the World Health Organization says. They say that 1.1 billion teenagers and young adults are at risk of permanently damaging their hearing by listening to too much, too loudly. It said audio players, concerts, and bars were posing a serious threat, and they are worried about this because people are listening to the headphones, they are in clubs, they are at bars, and no one is protecting their hearing, and it's all too loud. Music in the car, all of that stuff. And the amount of levels here they have associated with a time, decibel level and a time that is safe. And they have outlined that here. 85 decibels, the level of noise inside a car, is safe for about 8 hours. 90 decibels, so only 5 more, a lawnmower, they say 2 hours and 30 minutes. Massive, incline there in the amount of time. 95 decibels. An average motorcycle, it seems like a motorcycle would be more than 95 decibels, but anyway, 47 minutes. 100 decibels, 15 minutes. This goes all the way up basically to loud rock concerts, which they estimated around 115 decibels for 28 seconds, and then 120 sirens, about 9 seconds is safe. Now, these seem kind of off to me. I don't know. Wouldn't you say a motorcycle is more? I guess that's not important.
Well, I think that the motorcycle is more if you're standing. I think if you're riding it, it may not be as much because some of that noise is from the exhaust towards the back. So I think that being like if you were standing behind a motorcycle that's very loud and revving, I think that would be where you're affected by the noise more than if you're on it. I used to have a motorcycle, and sitting on the motorcycle, it actually was not that loud, but people behind me said it was very, very loud.
Mm-hmm. They recommend keeping the volume to 60% of the maximum as a good rule of thumb. And they say you should wear earplugs at noisy venues, take breaks if you're in front of loudspeakers, and so on and so forth. Now, I, of course, was in a band, and I would always, and when I was really young, I'd go to concerts and I wouldn't wear any protection. My ears would be ringing for days, and I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. This is a really bad idea. I got to start wearing the earplugs. And so I did. And then when I was in a band, every time we practiced and almost every time we played, unless we were in a really weird acoustic setting where I couldn't hear anything, I would always wear earplugs. And even when I'd watch the other bands after, always earplugs. And when I'm listening to stuff in my headphones, it's always at a loud volume. But it's like the louder you listen to things and the more damaged your hearing is, the louder it needs to be for you to hear it and enjoy it. But when you go to a show, do you wear earplugs?
Typically I do. If I'm somewhere where like I know someone at the show, so I'm off to the side or behind the big speakers on the stage, it's much quieter. So sometimes I won't. But my band just played a show Thursday night. It wasn't a huge venue, but the drums are really loud, and I've been playing for more than 10 years, and I just am aware of the cumulative effect of really loud drumming. So I wear the earplugs at every practice and at every show. Anything that I put in my ear, like even the earpiece I use to hear Lewis, I keep it at the lowest level at which I can comfortably hear. You know, some people I know who wear headphones or earpieces for shows, they have it really loud because they feel like if it's not really loud, they don't feel like they're in the show. But I keep it at the lowest level possible. I used to go every couple of years to an audiologist and actually have a test done to make sure my hearing was okay. I haven't gone in probably like 6 years or something. But yeah, I'm super aware of it.
Yeah. I notice that when I'm working at the bar, and of course when I'd play with other bands, that I would say the vast majority of musicians are not wearing earplugs.
Yeah.
And at the bar I'm at now, I mean, there are some nights where it is really, really loud. And these guys are playing for 3 hours, and they play every night and presumably doing the same thing. No earplugs.
And as you mentioned, the thing with them may be that they're so desensitized and they have hearing loss because of the loud music, that it no longer seems that loud. So they think, hey, we're not playing that loud. I don't need earplugs. But the reason it doesn't sound loud to them is because they've already suffered some hearing loss. And I know a drummer, a very well-known drummer in Massachusetts, who I think he's maybe 55 or even 60 now. And I went to see him play once, and he was kind of bashing, playing really loud. And I spoke to someone else who had taken lessons with him, and he said, yeah, he has some hearing loss, and that's part of why he's playing really loud. He doesn't recognize how loud he's playing.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem for musicians, but you got to protect that. And now the World Health Organization agrees. There was also some research I read a while back, and I don't know if I talked about it on the show, but it was there were some studies conducted that suggested that you can actually kind of self-repair a lot of hearing damage or some hearing loss by, well, I guess by just avoiding those loud noises for as much as you can, and that you kind of have the ability to repair that to some extent. But I talk to a lot of these guys in bands, and they seem to hear okay, but maybe everyone's different. Anyway, even when I'm working at the bar, working the door, I still have earplugs in most of the time. Here's a story that I do not talk about this stuff much. It's a story that's going to lead us to something else, but a story has come out that Kim Kardashian allegedly employs a full-time professional selfie retoucher at $100,000 a year. Now, I mean, I guess I can understand this to some extent. You have someone who is a Photoshop pro and has a lot of experience retouching photos to make people look as good as possible. And for some reason, Kim Kardashian needs to post pictures of herself. And for some other reason, she needs to look as good as possible in those pictures. And I guess she has the money to spare. And that seems like a pretty sweet job for someone. If you could just make $100,000 a year occasionally retouching selfies. I guess I'm saying occasionally, but who knows? I don't know how many selfies a day are being retouched. But, I mean, that seems like a pretty sweet gig. And I'm thinking, it got me thinking about those like really oddly specific jobs like closet organizers. Like celebrities will pay people, I don't know how much money to set up and organize their huge walk-in closets. You've heard of this, right?
Of course.
And then there are the people that are hired by rich people to do their shopping for them. You essentially get paid to go out and buy what they want or what you think they would like. And you just go buy stuff and with their money, bring it back to them, and they give you more money. And I don't know, I was trying to think of all the crazy specific jobs like this that rich people tend to hire other people for. Well, there's personal chefs, but I mean, if you have the money to spare, I'd say that's a good investment, having a personal chef. Presumably you're getting some high quality food out of that. What are some of the ones I'm missing?
Let's see. What about someone who is just in charge of like pet related stuff, super pampered pets, like really specific weird pet stuff where your pets, it's like someone in charge of like a full-time pet groomer and exerciser or something like that. I mean, a lot of people have like a dog walker here in New York, but I'm talking someone who is giving pets services that would be more akin to like what a person would get at a spa.
Yeah, there is the whole pet thing. That is another part of it. I don't know. I feel like, how do you even become the person who becomes a $100,000 a year professional selfie retoucher?
I mean, it's probably the type of thing where you're working somewhere in that field, like at an agency doing that, and somehow you meet the right person and they just say, hey, come just work for me doing this, and I'll pay you just to do this one element of your job, which is retouching pictures. Just do that for me full time and I'll make it worth your while. I would assume it maybe starts that way.
I wonder how much those drivers make. If you're just someone's driver and you drive the town car or the limo around, you drive them around all day, presumably you are available all day, every day. How much are those people making?
I think it depends on who you're doing it for and what part of the country you live in.
Yeah. High end of the scale. What do you think those drivers are making?
Couple $100,000.
Couple hundred?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, if you have any stories about that, let us know. Ron sent me this story. Missouri messed up big time. I love it when a state or a town changes a law without realizing the havoc it would the havoc that would ensue. And Missouri just did this. They tried to repair a 2012 state law that led to a dramatic increase of car thefts. And this report comes from Kansas City. The law allowed people to sell vehicles that are 10 years or older without a title. And the idea was to help rural property owners dispose of derelict vehicles and other outdated vehicles, essentially stuff that you would just sell to a scrapyard. But, you could get some money for. I mean, there's some value there. And of course, immediately, thieves were like, oh, this is great. I can steal any car now that's over 10 years old, sell it to a scrapyard, and there's pretty much no questions asked. And that's immediately what started happening. And in many cases, the cars were shredded before the owners could even report the theft. Do you think that this was still the correct move because of all these old derelict vehicles that were sitting around that people were just kind of stuck with? Or was this just a huge mistake?
I don't know. I'm trying to these derelict vehicles that are just sitting around are obviously, it's bad for the property owner. It's bad for the environment. Let's get these things taken apart, crushed, whatever the case is. At the same time, obviously this opened the door to them being stolen. And if you destroy the vehicle before it can be found, then it's going to be really hard to track down the person who came in. Maybe you could have done more as far as the documentation. So in spite of the fact that you don't need the title, I would assume a lot of these vehicles were at some point insured or registered. So you could have made a requirement that before the vehicle is destroyed, you at least need to confirm with the registry or an insurance company that at some point the vehicle was registered or insured in someone's name. Now, that wouldn't cover all of the vehicles. Obviously, there would still be cases where someone bought an old car, never registered it, never insured it, lost the title. They might be stuck with that one, but it would cover a lot of the cars. So I think that this could have been done in a better way, but at the same time, it would, I don't know. It's a very complicated situation.
Yeah, kind of funny. I'm sure they will fix this in some way, but pretty dumb oversight, but it happens.
Can I make an announcement, Lewis? Is that okay?
I suppose, as long as it has nothing to do with your genitals.
No. We have, so to our members, this is actually really annoying, and I hate the fact that this is going on. We used to only offer PayPal as the way to pay for memberships online. And in 2012, because a lot of people wanted it, we started offering Amazon payments. And a bunch of people now are paying for their memberships with Amazon Payments. Amazon Payments has just notified us that the current Amazon payment system is going to be phased out June 1st, okay? This is horrible for us. What this means is that everyone who is currently using Amazon Payments is going to have to create a new Amazon Payments subscription on a separate platform that is connected to Amazon, which we need to pay out of our own pocket to have a developer create, okay? I have no idea how much that's even going to cost, but I imagine it's going to be, probably $1,500 to $2,000, and I need to get on a conference call to figure that out. And unfortunately, because a lot of people, and I'm obviously not going to reach these people because they don't listen to the bonus show, many of our members sign up just to support us. They don't even listen to the bonus show. They just want to send us some money. So they're not even going to hear me talking about this. We'll email them, but, we're going to have some attrition. So I'm really concerned about this because we have all these members who are just going to have to resubscribe, and not everybody is going to, and we're going to lose members because of this. So I'm giving people plenty of notice that sometime during maybe April or May, we're going to be emailing you to have you recreate your Amazon subscription, or maybe if you want, switch to PayPal. So if anyone wants to get ahead of this thing so we can cross you off the list as someone we might lose, and you want to just switch to PayPal or send us a check for the year or whatever you want, get in touch with me. I wish we had more control over this. And I mean, we have no power. I'm going to get on the phone with Amazon today and say, this is really a problem for us as a small business, but I can't imagine they're going to care, Lewis.
I really doubt it. That's the thing. I mean, Amazon, of course, is a company that's not going anywhere, but they experiment with things like this. And say what you want about PayPal. I mean, would you have ever had any doubt that would you have ever had any question that you'd have to deal with something like this with PayPal?
Well, the thing is, we were getting so many complaints about PayPal that I said, oh, Amazon looks like it's way better. Unfortunately, with PayPal, when sometimes someone's credit card will expire and then they'll change their credit card, and we can go in with PayPal and reprocess that payment manually with the new payment method and keep that subscription going. Amazon doesn't let us do that. So with Amazon, if your credit card expires, Amazon cancels your subscription. And then we have to now reach out to the customer and be like, listen, I understand you changed your card, but with Amazon, we can't go in and reactivate it. You have to go in. And not everybody wants to do that. People are busy. And now Amazon is just canceling this current system altogether. So I was so optimistic when we added Amazon payments, and unfortunately we're running into all these issues. So if you want to wait for the new Amazon system that we're going to have to at some point pay to develop, and you know, who knows what that will cost, we'll let you know. If you want to preemptively switch to PayPal, please let me know and I can kind of walk you through doing that. I'm hoping that this will not be a disaster for the membership program.
No, hopefully not. But yeah, you can't trust anyone. You can't trust Amazon. But PayPal, maybe PayPal's too big to fail. I don't know. Maybe you got to bite the bullet sometimes.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.